get the sun shining on the high-level clouds, and some of the energy from the sun is reflected back out into space and never gets down to the Earth.
Now, is this warming up the Earth, this effect?
That effect is not warming up the Earth.
Oh, it isn't warming.
So you get a positive and a negative effect from water vapor.
But what is warming up the Earth? What are they talking about when they talk about fossil fuels warming the Earth and causing all the damage?
We didn't talk yet about the fact that man, in developing sources of power, coal, oil, and so on, when you use that source of energy to make power, one of the byproducts is carbon dioxide, and that's a greenhouse gas, and there's a dangerous gas, of course, carbon monoxide, which can kill people, of course. So that's what you're talking about.
Okay.
You have these two gases working to trap the heat, and in the case of water vapor, it not only traps it, but it reflects it back out in space. And to John's point, this is a very complex situation, not at all well understood, but these two facts do happen.
With all this so complicated, how do they determine that, you know, as far as I know, that it's only 2%, fossil fuel is only 2% of the bad gases that are supposedly warming up the Earth. How do they know this? How can they make this determination?
Well, they run calculations, and they draw certain conclusions and what have you. And it's such a, it's like Dick says, it's such a poorly understood and complex mechanism. I think one of my biggest beefs with the, I'll call them the alarmists or the believers in warming, is the computer projections. To me, sometimes this is nothing but other than Ouija board stuff. We have such complex systems and unpredictable systems with all variable feedbacks and reinforcements to going one way or going the other way that we as a technical group have to really plead ignorant on understanding what to do, except to be very, very cautious and not spend a fortune on trying to solve a problem that we really can't solve at all or doesn't exist.
Well, why are the glaciers retreating longer than we've emitted the CO2? How did that happen? If the scientists now say that we're causing the glaciers to disappear, this has been happening for many, many years, many centuries. I don't get it.
The thing about glaciers is that that's what glaciers do.
That's what glaciers do.
That's what they do. They advance and they retreat depending upon the temperature of the Earth and what has happened.
So why are they making this thing about we're causing the glaciers to disappear when this is a natural phenomenon?
Well, that's a very good question. And that's the thing that we are concerned about, because it is a natural thing and it's well documented that glaciers have advanced to a great degree and they've retreated to a great degree all around the world. And that's documented. And now to say, because in this point in time, remember, in this point in time we have a lot of information that's available to the general public that wasn't available just a short 50 years ago. Satellites have only been up since, what, 1960, something like that? That's around 50 years. And now you can see things around the world, in the case of, say, hurricanes and glaciers and ice caps, that you never could see before, period, just see it.
Right.
And not only can you see it, but you can chart it in the case of ice cover.
Well, you know, we're hearing this constantly. We're getting the future of energy, the tsunamis, the Chilean quakes, all kinds of things that we're hearing about. And that, why is it? It's all of a sudden come to, you know, this is what's going on now, and it says the reason we're having all these turbulence, you know, in our weather is because of global warming. But it's not true. Is that what you're saying?
That's basically right. We don't know that that's true.
Not proven.
That's not proven. That's the point.
You know,
so you're here because things are not proven.
The country of Scotland's got an interesting judicial system in their criminal courts. There's 3 verdicts that they can come up with. Guilty, innocent, or not proven. And that's where I stand. not proven. They can claim that Katrina and other things and cyclones happen more frequently, but any independent look at those things over the history of which we have records for indicates there is no really change on this. And certainly, if there were a change, there's certainly no data that connects it with warming. The warming is what? Warming is what? But 3/4 to 1 degree over the last 100, 125 years, what have you. It's different, and that's less than it's less than it was 1,000 years ago for a period of 400 years.
Now, we just had the Copenhagen, that conference in Copenhagen. Did you think it was successful, or did it just bring people that there's things going to happen if they don't, stop, all their carbon, fossil fuels, and you said that really isn't proven yet. But what did this Copenhagen conference accomplish or not accomplish? What do you think?
Well, I don't think it accomplished very much as far as advancing the idea that we have a real problem, because the nations of the world couldn't come to any agreement as to what actions they were going to take. And now there additional conferences are scheduled in an attempt to get people on board that say this is a real problem. But there's enough skepticism out there now that the basic premise is seriously in question. This really all started, in my view, from what I studied so far, is because we're aware of acid rain, just to take one particular thing from burning coal plants, and you get sulfur, and you get sulfuric acid, and you can destroy forests in the plume of smoke that comes out of a power plant that contains sulfur. And so on a regional basis, you can solve the problem. Hey, we took care of the environment, and that's being done on a regular basis. So for that success on a regional basis, it was observed in the 1970s and 1980s that the temperatures were increasing a little bit, and at the same time people were saying, look at the carbon dioxide, it's going up too. And then the statement was then made, the temperature is going up, the carbon dioxide is going up, therefore carbon dioxide is the problem. And that statement is the problem, because there is not that correlation between them. That's how it all started.
So it all started with a statement, and it also from a magazine. Remember the magazine, a popular magazine? It said, for instance, it said glaciers in the Himalayas will melt entirely by 2035. Turns out to have come not from peer-reviewed literature, but from a 1999 article in New Scientist, a popular magazine in the UK. I was shocked by that. I mean, I could probably get the same thing from comic books my grandchildren read. I mean, that is entirely, and people are talking about the Himalayas and the glaciers, and it comes from just a magazine, a non-proven, non-scientific. It's just somebody that wrote up the article. What is that about? Why are they taking these things verbatim when they haven't proven these scientific facts yet? What are your feelings, John?
It's faith-based, like a religion.
In some cases,
it's politics. You can. Critics, skeptics like Dick and I, if we were to try to publish our opinions based on our research in respected journals, may have a very difficult time getting published because it's unpopular. Distinguished magazines that refuse to publish the work of qualified scientists that do not agree with what the IPCC is talking about.
Because the IPCC is saying that the science, and you hear this expression.
Can you tell what IPCC, so
Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, sponsored by the United Nations. They are saying that the science is settled. And they're using legal jargon, because when the Supreme Court of the United States makes a decision, then everybody says the law is settled. And therefore, we as a society go along and say, the Supreme Court said this, and now for the next few years until we change the Constitution or